Hey everybody, what's going on? It is Thursday. It's Monster Workshop time. How's everybody doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's been a little while. I have been out of town. I just came back yesterday late from a little vacation in Denver with my wife, and I have not spoken much today, as you can tell by my voice. But I brought some water, so I'm gonna take a little gulp, and then we're gonna get started. It is lovely to be here. How y'all doing? Um, if you're just tuning in, this is an extremely special episode of Monster of the Week because, well, I should say, it's a special episode of Monster Workshop. Monster Workshop is a semi-weekly stream that I do here on Thursdays where we talk about one monster in the Monster Manual and how we could maybe redesign it to make it a little bit of a better monster in the Monster Manual. This week, there's my thing here, great. This week, we are talking about one of my very favorite monsters in the entire book, and maybe in the entire game, and that is the Dragon Turtle. This is paired with a podcast that I release, usually every Sunday, called Monster of the Week, and we kind of do the same thing there. This is us now taking sort of the ideas that we had in that podcast and iterating on them in 5th edition. It's a little bit silly to do this now because there is I just read today they just released the second playtest for 1 D&D, which is the kind of like revamped version of 5th edition they'll be releasing in the next couple of years. So is this sort of like building a sandcastle before an incoming tide? Potentially it is. Potentially it is. But regardless, we are going to persevere nonetheless. So we're going to talk about the Dragon Turtle today. We're going to talk about the things that we like and things we don't like, and then we're going to try to propose some solutions. Maybe a shorter episode, as the Dragon Turtle is not a particularly complicated monster, but that does not mean that I don't love them. The Dragon Turtle is a CR-17 gargantuan dragon. It is basically a gigantic, monstrous sea turtle. It has high armor class, 20 AC. It's got 341 hit points. A lot of hit points. It's got a 20-foot move speed and then a 40-foot swim speed. It has high strength, high constitution, and then medium to average everything else. They are intelligent. They have 10 intelligence. They have good saving throws, dexterity, constitution, and wisdom. That's kind of in keeping with it being a dragon. It's got resistance to fire. It's got dark vision. It speaks Aquan and Draconic, but not common, interestingly. It only has one trait, and that is amphibious, that the Dragon Turtle can breathe both air and water. A little weird if they're turtles, but okay, whatever, I get it. And then multi-attack. The Dragon Turtle makes 3 attacks, 1 with its bite and 2 with its claws. It can make 1 tail attack in place of its 2 claw attacks. So pretty standard. It's got your bite that deals a big pile of damage, a 15-foot reach on it. You've got your claws that deals somewhat less damage, but since you're going to do 2 of them, it kind of balances out. Then you have the tail attack, also 15-foot reach. It hits a single target, deals a bunch of damage, similar damage to the bite. And then if the target is a creature, it must succeed on a DC 20 strength saving throw, or be pushed up to 10 feet away from the dragon turtle and knocked prone. So it's slightly more interesting than the bite. And then lastly, it has a steam breath. The Dragon Turtle exhales scalding steam in a 60-foot cone. Each creature in that area must make a DC 18 Constitution saving throw, taking 15d6 fire damage on a failed save, or half as much damage on a successful one. Being underwater does not grant resistance against this damage. It's basically a fire breath, but sort of sneakily done underwater. I love the steam breath. It's one of the coolest things about the Dragon Turtle. I love the Dragon Turtle. It's a great monster that really exemplifies to me the kinds of dragons that I like to tell stories about. Big, intelligent, like sentient, but not particularly intelligent, sort of greedy. I love that they're neutral. They're not necessarily evil. They're just kind of like a big, massive, greedy monster that usually you have to negotiate with rather than fight. I think that the 5th edition version could iterate on this a little bit more. So let's talk about 3 problems that we see here with the 5th edition Dragon Turtle, and then go into some potential solutions. So the first thing is that the Dragon Turtle has no mechanics for interacting with seagoing vessels. So this has been a thing, we talk about this in the podcast a lot, but over the course of the history of the Dragon Turtle, there has always been a sidebar or a power or an ability called Capsize that basically allows the Dragon Turtle to, flip over ships and things like that. Kind of the suggested encounter for the Dragon Turtle is that they should be interacting with an ocean-going vessel of some kind. Now, I understand why in 5th edition they have removed this, because it was always kind of a weird mechanic. The way it was done in past editions is it was just a flat percentage roll. It was like, I think in 1st edition, it was like, they just have like a 50% chance of capsizing a vessel if they try to. Right, but there was no like action, like it can do this. It's just like the Dragon Turtle has a 50% chance of doing it. Does that mean it can constantly try round after round? Right, or does it only happen once? Like once you do it and you roll below 50, then oh well, it doesn't happen, right? Or roll above 50, I should say. You know what I'm saying? I understand why they got rid of it, and that power actually sustained itself all the way through 2nd and 3rd edition as this like hallmark ability of the Dragon Turtle. Now, I think that's definitely weird. I think it's a weird power. I don't really think it belongs in 5th edition, but it is strange to me how much of 5th edition, or how much of Dragon Turtle sort of like lore and even art, if you look at the 5th edition art of the Dragon Turtle here, it is swimming up to bite the rudder, right, on a tall ship. It's great art. I love it. I didn't use it for the art here because it doesn't like it doesn't work very well as a PNG. But it's strange to me that there's nothing here about them interacting with objects. So my solution to that is to definitely give the Dragon Turtle Siege Monster, and possibly even give it some version of Capsize again. Again, I understand why they wouldn't want to put that in, because you don't want to assume that the Dragon Turtle is going to be in an encounter where there is a giant ship, where there's a ship involved. But at the same time, like, doing that might suggest certain encounters to a Dungeon Master, and that I think is one of the kind of unsung duties of the Monster Manual, is to not only present the monster, but also to frame some potential encounter scenarios where you might use it. I can't tell you the number of times I've opened a Monster Manual, usually in a previous edition and usually a later Monster Manual, and seen a monster that I just couldn't possibly wrap my brain around because there was no good suggested idea of how I might use this monster. So I don't think it's necessarily terrible to include Capsize as one of the Dragon Turtle's mechanics, because I do think that ultimately that's most likely how you're going to be interacting with one. So definitely Siege Monster, and we'll talk about some form of Capsize. I have done a monster with a similar power that was basically like a giant sea serpent. We might look at that power to see if we can borrow something from it. The second problem is that the action economy is really balanced strongly against the Dragon Turtle. Now, one thing that is worth pointing out here is that this is a CR-17 monster, and it basically has multi-attack, or potentially a breath weapon on a recharge 5/6, which takes its whole action. It is just absolutely going to get swamped by a party approximately its level. A Dragon Turtle could work pretty well as a monster that a much lower level party faces, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, but I don't necessarily... The normal response here to say would be to make it a legendary monster. I do think it's a dragon. I do think you could go that route. In fact, Fizban's Treasury of Dragons does go that route and presents both the adult Dragon Turtle and also an elder or an ancient Dragon Turtle. And I believe it's the ancient that has the legendary actions and even layer actions and regional effects. I think that's perfectly valid if that's what you want to do with your Dragon Turtle. I don't necessarily think that's a bad idea. But I don't necessarily think that the solution to the action economy problem is to make every single monster legendary. The Dragon Turtle certainly could be, and I can definitely envision a legendary Dragon Turtle, but I think that the base Dragon Turtle itself should be a little bit more capable of handling the kind of action economy problem it's going to be faced with. So there are a few things we could do here. The main one I was thinking about is actual snapping turtles in the real world and how dangerous their bites are. They have particularly nasty bites. So I was thinking there might be something to the idea of the Dragon Turtle biting and having like a snapping power or a grabbing power, maybe even a swallow. If the conceit is that it's this gigantic sea beast. Swallowing is a great way to kind of fight action economy because it will keep the party from interacting with each other, right? It's a good way to pin down a character or two by swallowing them. That would be my recommendation. There are probably other ways to do this. I wonder if there is something about surfacing or breaching, you know, where it can disrupt the water around it, that kind of a thing. It's tough, though, because, again, you don't want to design too many powers that are dependent on the sort of environment that the Dragon Turtle is in, right? But then again, you look at plenty of monsters like the Ankheg, right, which is all about burrowing. So I think it's reasonable to assume that if you're doing a Dragon Turtle, it is in the water, right? And my last problem is that the Dragon Turtle is a little bit too high CR, both mechanically and thematically. Let me explain what I mean by that. I definitely think it is too high CR for how many actions it has and how much of a threat it presents. It certainly hits pretty hard, 3d12 plus 7 on a bite, potentially 48 plus 14 with 2 claws. So it's a lot of damage for sure. But again, that action economy is just such that by the time the party is capable of facing a 17th level threat, they're going to be able to walk all over this thing. I personally think, hey, what's up, Nuker Wolf? Nugerwolf says, for me, big creatures that only have a reach of 5 to 10 feet always bothers me. That's interesting because the Dragon Turtle actually does have a 15-foot reach. I think I guess the claws are only 10 feet. Though I imagine that, like, with a turtle, you know, a claw action isn't too bad. But I hear you on that. Like, the imagery you expect with a Dragon Turtle is like a 20-foot reach, especially with that tail. You have to imagine that big, massive tail could reach even further than that. So I'm not opposed to extending their reach for sure. But what I'm saying about the Dragon Turtle CR is that it feels to me like it is too high, because by the time you're going to face it, it's not really going to be a threat to you anymore. A Dragon Turtle, to me, and there's no good way to like ensure this in the mechanics, but the Dragon Turtle to me is the kind of monster that you are going, that works best when the party is substantially below its CR. Right? Like, let's say that the party is CR is like level like 5 or 6. That's kind of when I want them to encounter a Dragon Turtle and sort of be awed by the sheer size of it, right? Where clearly they can't get into a fight with it, or if they were to fight with it, it would be just an absolute dogfight. Probably the Dragon Turtle is going to wipe the floor with them. I would imagine hitting with a 26 on a bite attack. But, you know, in that like 5 to 8 to 10 range, I think is kind of when you want to encounter one, right? But because it's CR 17, you are much less likely to put one in front of a CR 5 party because you understand how dangerous that can be. So I kind of think making the Dragon Turtle like CR 12 or 13 is more likely to have you put it in front of a lower level party. You can still have it be gargantuan. It can still be a little bit more powerful in terms of its actions and stuff, just by lowering the damage and saying that, okay, you know, it's got a little bit more grandeur than necessarily making it like a CR17 that really, when you think about it, isn't actually a threat to a CR17 party, a level 17 party. So one of my solutions to this is either just to lower the Dragon Turtle's, you know, overall CR. And I think one way you could do that is through different age categories, much like a proper dragon. They play with this a little bit in the in Fizzbands, but they don't really address it in the way that I would like. I believe that the adult Dragon Turtle is like CR17, which again, hey, what's up, Hunter? Love to see you. Thanks for coming in. The adult Dragon Turtle is like is presented as CR17, and then like the ancient is like CR20 or 22, somewhere in there. So what you could do is you could break that down and say, okay, what if there was a Dragon Turtle, you know, not a wormling necessarily, but like a hatchling, a Dragon Turtle hatchling, and then have the like a young Dragon Turtle be the kind of CR10, CR12 area, right? I kind of think that would at least give you some sense of scale and would allow you to use a Dragon Turtle at a level that's a little bit more appropriate. So that's kind of what I'm proposing as we go ahead and we do that. So let's first fix the sort of adult Dragon Turtle as it stands, and then we can kind of go from there. I'm going to leave it just as Dragon Turtle for now, as opposed to making it adult and that kind of thing. I think we can put the addendums on the younger ones or the older ones. But since the ancient one already exists, I think we're just going to focus on doing the hatchling and the young Dragon Turtle. Great, let's dive in. So definitely the first thing we can do here on our incredible website, TetraCube. Love TetraCube. It's a great reference. It's a great resource for players, especially people who are players, for D&D, for Dungeon Masters, especially people who are, you know, making monsters like me. Can you tell it's been a while since I've done anything? I've been out on vacation. Let's go scroll down here and let's talk about Siege Monster. That is definitely an easy one to put in. I think it only makes sense to have it in here. Siege Monster. Use presets and then add ability. Great. The Dragon Turtle deals double damage to objects and structures. Definitely makes sense to me. Let's dive in. Let's see. Nuker Wolf says, one of the things I have to remember is water monsters use 3D movement, and in a recent session it took me half the battle to realize, oh, this sea creature would go underwater and not stay and get hit. Yeah, exactly. I wonder if that is a way to deal with some of the action economy problems, is to give it some kind of surfacing and submerging powers. Great, so that's the siege monster. Now I want to look at capsize because I don't, again, I don't think that the mechanics that have previously been sort of discussed are necessarily what we want to do, because they are so weird and dated with like rolling the percentage dice. So I'm gonna look up how I did my other monster here. I made a monster called a wave worm like last year, I think, for Daily Bestiary. And it had a power, constrict power, basically inspired by the Kraken in Sea of Thieves. In that game, the Kraken like basically wraps its tentacle around the ship and then tries to squeeze it. So I wanted to give the wave worm this basically like super long Jormungandr-esque sea serpent the same kind of ability to wrap itself around the ship. So here's what I wrote there. I said the wave worm attempts to grab a gargantuan or smaller vehicle within 5 feet of it. The vehicle must succeed on a DC 15 dexterity saving throw or be grappled, reducing its speed to 0. Until the grapple ends, whenever the vehicle begins its turn, it takes 21 or 66 bludgeoning damage from the wave worm's coils. If the wave worm takes 20 damage or more on a single turn whilst grappling the vehicle, the wave worm must succeed on a con save. The grapple ends. If the wave worm dies, that vehicle is no longer restrained and can escape from the corpse by using 20 feet of movement. The wave worm can only constrict one vehicle at a time. So, like, you know, it's still, the wave worm still had its bite power, and it had a breath weapon where it shot, like, inky poison. So it could still work without it. There is a weird interaction between the siege monster and dealing damage to the ship. I think one of the other conflicts with capsize is that there was no mechanical expression of what capsize did to a ship. Like, it would say like they had a chance of capsizing a vessel, but there was nowhere was that written like, okay, this is what capsizing means in this context, right? It's just this is a thing that could happen. So I think that's the other problem with like mechanizing something where it interacts with a ship. The more I think about it, the more I wonder if we don't make a separate ability called capsize, but if we do give them some kind of a submerge and surface power, right? Where like as part of their movement, they can either dive deeper into the water, or they can rise up and create kind of a wave effect. And then we put like an addendum in that power about the effect that has on a vehicle, right? Like, yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. As opposed to making it a percentage, I do think that making it like a saving throw is interesting. I forget how vehicle saving throws work. I obviously looked it up way back in the day when I did this, but now I don't remember. So I'm gonna dig around on D&D Beyond here a little bit in the background to see if we can figure that out. But I wonder if that's actually part of the action economy question, as opposed to part of the making it a separate ability called capsize. Okay, so let me look up. I think it's Ghosts of Saltmarsh has the vehicle rules in it. So I'm trying to think about like surfacing and submerging, how that would work. Ship stat blocks. Let's see. Capacity, travel space, ability scores. Actions, components, armor class, hit points, damage threshold. The galley has... Yeah, I'm looking at like the galley, for example. It doesn't have saving throws, but it does have ability scores. Let me look. Okay. Yeah, interesting. So they can make saving throws, but they're often just like not good at making, you know, dexterity saving throws because they're obviously like huge ships. So I wonder if so I'm not sure about submerge, but I like the idea of surface. When the dragon turtle surfaces, yeah. Ooh, what if it's like pounce? Yeah, what if it's like pounce? So what if we go pounce, use preset, and we say surface. If the dragon turtle moves, let's specifically say swims. The dragon turtle swims at least 20 feet. straight upward, and ends its movement at the surface, then like all creatures within blah 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 blah, all creatures within X distance. You know what I'm saying? Like, so what I'm imagining is that it's like movement, and then if it ends its turn on the surface, then it creates like a big wave effect, right? Like all creatures within 30 feet of the all creatures within 30 feet, all creatures within 15 feet of the dragon turtle. We'll say 30 feet. Why not? Of the dragon turtle must succeed on a DC. It shoots out of the water and belly flops. Oh, like a... Yeah, I was just imagining the, like, whoosh coming up, right? All creatures. What if we do all creatures and vehicles? Yeah. Let me see. How are these like things like described? Yeah, vehicles. All creatures and vehicles must succeed on a DC X strength saving throw or be pushed 10 feet and knocked prone. So I wonder if we do push 10 feet and knocked prone. If a vehicle fails its saving throw by 5 or more, it is capsizing like a thing. Let me see if it's in here. I don't think so. No. So, it's like, how do you knock a vehicle prone? Can you? So, like, certain ships are immune to being knocked prone, right? But they have to be able to, like, capsize. I'm trying to figure out how to do this. Ship is wrecked if its hull is destroyed. I see, okay. But, like, you can flip a ship over. You know what I mean? But if a ship capsizes, it's basically sunk, right? Like, maybe that's it. Maybe the point is if the vessel fails the saving throw by 5 or more, it is reduced to 0 hit points. Yeah, it's just flipped over. It's done. I like that. I mean, I think that makes sense. And, like, most of these ships are going to be good at strength saving throws. You know what I mean? Like, I'm looking at these, like, these sample ships. Like, the keel boat is the smallest one. Or the rowboat, I guess, is the smallest one. The rowboat has 11 strength. So chances are good. We're looking at, like, what? At a DC 18 strength saving throw? Yeah. Honestly, it's probably even higher than that. Let me see. So its personality bonus is +6. That's 14. Plus strength is ooh, yeah, it's like 21 is what it would be if you calculate it based on strength. We're just gonna reduce it down to 20. A DC 20 strength saving throw will be pushed 10 feet and knocked prone. Yeah, it could be, but I kind of think it's not that it's wrecking the hull, right? Nuclear Wolf says it might just be it does X damage and half on a success. I kind of think it's not just wrecking the hull, because if it comes up within 30 feet, it just, it like pushes them. The boats won't be knocked prone because they're immune to being knocked prone, right? Oh, interestingly, the rowboat is not immune to being knocked prone. That's interesting. Interesting. I kind of think this works because the whole point of it is that it's really good at capsizing ships. Most ships are going to have good strength saving throws, right? So the chances of them being capsized are pretty minor, and they're going to be pushed 10 feet by the rising thing, right? And we will say 15 feet. That 15 feet feels a little better. Great. If a vehicle fails a saving throw by 5 or more, it is reduced to 0 hit points. Yeah, I love that. Okay. Its hull is reduced to 0 hit points. Yeah, its hull is reduced to 0 hit points. Yeah, there you go. And it immediately wrecks. Perfect. Because then it also then doesn't have the nasty interaction with Siege Monster, right? That's my problem with the Wave Worm, is that like it would be dealing extra damage. It'd be dealing a bunch of extra damage because Siege Monster would give it double damage on objects and structures. So if the Dragon Turtle decides, okay, I don't want to surface underneath that, I want to just like smash the ship in half with its tail, then it can do that, right? And it'll deal double damage to the ship. Yeah. Ooh, the Dragon Turtle swims, not swim. I kind of like this because it's a different thing. It can allow them to just like KO a ship, but it should do that. It should be able to do that. That was what it could always do, right? But this now also affects other characters. If you're swimming in the water near the turtle, if the Dragon Turtle swims at least 20 feet straight upward and ends its movement at the surface, all creatures and vehicles within 30 feet of the Dragon Turtle must succeed on a DC 20 strength saving throw or be pushed 15 feet and knocked prone. If a vehicle fails its saving throw by 5 or more, its hull is reduced to 0 hit points and it immediately wrecks. Yeah. Great. And you can flavor that as the turtle coming up underneath it. You can flavor that as the turtle, like, just pushing, like, the wave being so high that it capsizes the boat. There's a lot of options there. Okay, cool. Let's do some action economy stuff. So we have that. That's nice because it suggests some movement, and it's something that they can do with their move. You know, they can rise up to the surface like that. Okay, let's do... oh, we wanted to nuke wolf. We wanted to extend the reach on some of their attacks. So let's go a 20-foot bite. And let's go a 30-foot... yeah, we'll go 20-foot bite, add action. That way we can, like, reach up onto the deck of a ship pretty easily, right? Oh, hey, what's up, David? Thanks for coming. No, you're not late at all. Lovely to see you. That's a 20-foot bite. Let's do a 15-foot claw. And let's do a 30-foot tail. Let's get crazy. Yeah, it's huge. It's a massive tail, right? It's a gargantuan thing. It's supposed to be huge. Now, we wanted to mess around with this bite power. So it deals 3d12 plus 7 piercing damage, and the target is grappled. While grappled, escape, DC, whatever. DC. Okay, let me look at some of these ships. Keelboat is not immune to being grappled. A galley is not immune to being grappled or restrained. Cool. So you can still grapple and restrain ships because then it can use its bite, kind of like you saw in the like you see in the art where it's like trying to bite the rudder. It can still sort of grab onto a ship if it wants to. Beautiful. Escape DC. What, 20? Great. While grappled in this way, the target is restrained. While grappled, the target is restrained. Is restrained. Okay, so that's the new bite. And then I want to put swallow in there. Now let me look up swallow. Oh, imagining it bite a crew member off the ship. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing about snapping turtles too, is that their necks are really long. So like they're usually all kind of crinkled up, but they can really extend their necks out. And actually the art of the original Dragon Turtle in first edition has it with a super long neck. So I actually kind of like the idea that it's like neck is in and then it bites you, like comes out. Dude, I saw an alligator snapping turtle at the Denver Zoo on my vacation, and it truly is a dragon turtle. Like, absolutely a real dragon turtle. It was awesome. Like, right up there by the glass. Very spooky. They have them in Minnesota, where I'm from. Not alligators, but we do have snappers, and they are just mean, horrible creatures. I love them. Okay, swallow is a purple worm power. That's the creature I think of when I think of the swallow power. I think of it as a purple worm. Let's see. Oipel Woim. Here we go. Let's see. So this is, I think, a separate action. So it bites you, and then as an action, it does. No, but Purple Worm has that all as one thing. I need a creature. Swallow one of these? That would be awesome. It is not. It is not. Shoot. Okay. Well, that's fine. The Dragon Turtle swallows one creature it has grappled. The Dragon Turtle swallows one creature it has restrained. It has restrained. Okay. So it just does it as an action. We'll have to go into multi-attack and put that in there, that it can replace a bite with a swallow. So back to the Purple Worm. I just want to get this wording proper. P for Purple Worm. Yeah. They are very cool. I love a snapping turtle. Okay. Let me just put this over here where I can read it. Okay, if the creature is a swallows one large or smaller creature it has restrained. Perfect. A swallowed creature is blinded and restrained. It has total cover against attacks and other effects outside the turtle. And it takes... Actually, this is probably the correct amount of damage here. 66 acid damage at the start of each of the turtle's turns. If the turtle takes 30 damage or more on a single turn from a creature inside it, the turtle must succeed on a DC 21 Constitution saving throw. At the end of that turn, or regurgitate all swallowed creatures which fall prone in a space within 10 feet of the turtle. If the turtle dies, a swallowed creature is no longer restrained by it and can escape from the corpse by using 20 feet of movement, exiting prone. Add action. Gonna go above Steam Breath, and we're going to adjust. We're gonna adjust its multi-attack. It can make one tail attack in place of its two claw attacks. Two with its claws. It can replace a bite attack with its swallow action, or make swallow action, or make one tail attack in place of its two claw attacks. There we go. Okay. We should put that thing about the it can't bite another target while it's got somebody restrained. Let's see. Dragon turtle, or I think that it's the dinosaur. It's the behemoth that has it. Here we go. And the dragon turtle can't bite another target. Okay, so then that's in action. I feel like that is pretty good for action economy then. It's got surface and it's got swallow, and the bite restrains you. Pull some of these over. Multi-attack is pretty long. Yeah, but it gives you lots of options, right? I kind of think that's cool. Let's go like that. pretty long. That's okay. It's a dragon turtle. We love a dragon turtle, don't we, folks? Great. So now we just gotta make the hatchling and maybe the young turtle, which should be pretty easy because all we gotta do is like reverse engineer this, right? So let's view the image. Let's save these. Make sure I've got them. Save the stat block. Beautiful. And then we're just gonna reverse engineer. So let's go one step younger and go young dragon turtle. We're gonna say that the young dragon turtle is huge. We want this to be like a CR 12-ish creature, something like that. Yeah, I like that. CR 12. So what's like a good... Here, we'll base it on the white dragon, which is CR 13. So we want it to have about 200 hit points. We're going to say it's got like 16 hit dice. That gives it 184. Pretty close. Let's give it maybe 18 hit dice. 207? Cool. Love that. We're going to reduce some of its stuff here. We're going to say it's got 22 strength. We're going to go 24 strength. 10 dex is fine. We're going to say it's got 18. Let's say it's got 18 con. 10 intelligence is fine. We're going to go down to 11 wisdom because it's a little bit younger. We're going to say it's got 11 charisma as well. Let's see. Saving throws are good. All that stuff is good. Challenge rating is now CR 12. That's all good. Now, I say that we can remove Swallow at this point because I think it's about how big the dragon is. We get rid of Swallow, and we can also... I think we can still grapple people, right? It can make one tail attack, so it's got a little bit less of an action economy. It's got a little bit more of an action economy problem, but it can still grapple you, which I think is fine. That's your action right there. And then that brings that down substantially. Let's change some of these DCs and some of this damage. So I think Amphibious and Siege Monster are still fine. Surface, if it swims 20 feet straight up, that's still good. I think it's just going to be the saving throw we need to worry about. So we're going to say a DC. What would that be then? DC 14, 18? It'd be what? 4 plus its strength, which is still 7. Pretty impressive. What is the dragon? What is the adult dragon turtle's strength? Go back here. 25. Pretty close. Let's drop this down. Let's go 23. Yeah, there we go. 23. Let's go 22. Okay, 22. So it's 6 plus 4 is 10 plus 8, so 18. I think 18 is fine. For this, it's just pushing you prone. Don't think that's so bad. We'll say this is 20 feet, and then we'll say it pushes you 10 feet. Great. And immediately wrecks. I think that's still fine. Ooh, let's maybe change the size of the vehicle, right? So like it can capsize a keel boat. Like even a keel boat is gargantuan. Is there anything that's... Yeah, they're all gargantuan, so who cares? Okay, so then let's just get down here and let's mess with some damage. So I'm gonna base again this off the dragon. That deals about 2d10 damage on the bite. So we're gonna go 3d10 plus what, 6 piercing damage, and the target is grappled. Escape DC 18. Definitely the attack bonus would be substantially less. What would it be? It would be 6 or 4 plus. It'd be plus 10 to hit. So it's pretty inaccurate, relatively speaking, but I think that's okay because it's a turtle. So these are plus 10 to hit. The claw, we're gonna say 2d6 plus 6 slashing damage. I think is fine. Add action, and then the tail plus 10. Oh, we should reduce the range on these two. So we'll say 20 feet here. We'll say whatever the same thing for the bite was, 3d10 plus 6. Oh, that would change this math as well, wouldn't it? Shoot. So let's just do this. Let's just do strength 3d10. Yeah, okay. Add, succeed on a DC 18 strength saving throw. Push 10 feet away from the dragon turtle and knocked prone. Okay, that's fine. Let's put that as an action. And check that to make sure it does it properly. 22 damage. Okay, so you're really not reducing the damage all that much with 3d10 plus 6. 3d8 maybe? Yeah, let's go 3d8. It is strength 3d8. Piercing damage target is grappled. Okay, now add that action. 19. That's a little better. We'll keep the 2d6. I think that's fine. And then we'll go 3d8. Bludgeoning. Okay. Oh, we want to reduce the reach on these. So these should be back to, what, 10 feet? And then this bite should be 15 feet. Okay. Oh, and then the steam breath has to come down. A 60-foot cone. Each creature in that area must make a DC 16 Constitution saving throw, taking 12d6. Even that doesn't quite feel like enough of a reduction. Taking 10d6. Let's put that in. What does that become then? Yeah, man. Love Sea of Thieves. Love it. I gotta get back out there. 35? Yeah, that's okay. I think that's fine. I almost want to go a little higher. Let's go 12. 12d6. Use or add action. There you go. 42? Yeah. The white dragon has 54. It has 12d8. So let's go a little bit less. Great, there's the young dragon turtle. I think that's pretty simple. They are 12. And then let's make the dragon turtle hatchling. Cool. View image. This is going to be a short one. I warned it was going to be a short one, but this is even shorter than I thought it was going to be. Okay, so dragon turtle hatchling then. Dragon turtle hatchling. Yeah, they've changed a lot, dude. They've changed a lot in that game. It's almost intimidating to go back. I'm going to say it's medium-sized. I kind of think it's funny if it's large. Like, they're still huge, you know? Because, like, normally with reptiles, like, they grow really quickly, but I kind of like the idea that even the dragon turtle's eggs are massive, right? It's still a large-sized dragon. I think that's kind of cool. Okay, we're going to say that this guy is CR7. So it's still just gargantuan. A huge threat. It's more like a young than a... Yeah. Okay, cool. So it's got about 100 some hit points. Let's go down to like 12d. 114. Actually, that's pretty good. Let's reduce its ability scores. Let's go 18 strength. Let's go 10 dex is fine. 18. We'll keep that. We'll put that at 16 actually. We'll say its wisdom is 10. And then its charisma is... We'll bring its strength there, the intelligence down to like 8. Yeah, it's a baby. It's a little baby. And its charisma at 8 as well. Okay, all that's fine. All that's good. Dark vision can be shorter probably. Go 60 feet on dark vision. Okay, 102 armor class, or 102 hit points. 102 armor class. You heard that. You heard it here first, folks. I kind of think it doesn't have surface. You know what I mean? I don't think it's that big. These 3 attacks, one is biting, 2 with its claws. So what are we talking about here? That's a +3, +4, +7 to hit. Reach 10 feet. 1 target. Strength is 2d10. 2d10 piercing damage. Add action. Now I want to see what that comes out to be. That comes out to be 15 damage. Which is only a little bit less than the current. Yeah, that's fine. It was grappled. DC what? DC 8 plus 3 is 11 plus 4 is 15. Yeah, that's fine. Escape DC 15. Add ability. Oh shoot, nope. That is add action. Kill this ability. Okay. So then the claws should be 5 feet. It is what? 2d6. the claw here. 2d4. Strength 2d4. Yeah, I don't hate that. Add action for the claw. And then tail is the same damage. Oh, it's at +7. I gotta remember to change that too. Is a 15-foot reach. And it's the same damage as this guy. So this is 2d10 bludgeoning damage. Targets a creature, a DC 15 strength saving throw. We push 10 feet away. That's the tail. And we gotta change the damage here. Yeah, add that action in. And then I think it still has a steam breath, because it should. Little baby one, though. What's the wormling's breath weapon like? 5d8 doesn't seem like enough. 7d6? Add action. You need 24 fire damage. That still doesn't feel like enough to me. Go 10d6. Add action. 10d6 is 35. I think that's good. Okay, and then there's your hatchling. Yeah, it's like a little baby version. Little baby. Okay, I mean, I think that's good. It's nice and simple. Yeah, it's a shame because Fizzbands already did the older one, and I actually think their older one's pretty good, so I don't really need to do an ancient version. Hey everybody, is that the whole stream? That's a short one today, but maybe that's okay. We're kind of getting back into the swing of things. I think that's the dragon turtle, everybody. We added, what did we do? We added the surface ability, which both affected the action economy and gave it an ability to interact with ships. We also gave it Siege Monster to make it extra good at damaging vessels. We gave it a swallow power and improved its bite, so it can grab you, and then if it holds onto you for a round, it can swallow you. Again, another good action economy thing. And then we built a hatchling and a young version, basically by reducing some of the damage and the armor class. That was fast. The hit points are not the armor class. Ooh, maybe yeah, we should probably adjust the armor class too. It's occurring to me. 20 natural armor is a lot. Well, I can do that on my own. We can bring that armor class down. Yeah, I can do that on my own quick. I don't have to go back through. Just save that stat block. You know what? Let me just do it right now while I've got everybody here. Let me load in young dragon turtle, because that one should be a little easier to hit. Young dragon turtle. Okay, and then let's go what? Armor bonus is 6, and that gives us 16. No, let's go armor bonus 8. Gives us 18 armor class for a younger dragon turtle. That's better. Oh, not load. Excuse me. Put it. View image and save stat block. Okay, great. That was very fast. Yes, it was a quick stream today, but that's okay. It's good to get it done. Excellent. That is going to do it for me today. Thank you for coming and watching. If you enjoyed this stream, check out our Patreon. That is where all these monsters will eventually get posted. I was an idiot and I posted the demons I've been working on for a couple of weeks finally to Patreon, but I forgot to upload the actual documents, so nobody got to read them. So if you are a patron, you're reading this, that is now updated. You can go and check that out. Otherwise, there'll be new stuff posted, usually every week, depending on how my life is going. Thanks, Hunter Fox. You get some rest as well. Yeah, subscribe to me here on YouTube. If you haven't already, you can find me on Discord and on Twitter with the links down below. We'll be back, not Saturday for Sea of Thieves. I'm a little busy on Saturday. We'll be back Tuesday, I believe, for an adventure prep stream right here on the same channel. And then I'm actually leaving. I'm out of town again next week to visit some family, so it's kind of a busy end of the month for me. But hopefully in October, things will return to a little bit more stable streaming schedule again. But until then, thank you so much for watching. Appreciate. Thanks to Nuker Wolf and David and Hunter Fox for coming out for this really quick one. Nice to be back. Excited to do some stuff this week. But until next time, thank you for watching. And as always, happy adventuring. Thanks, everybody.